Alright, now we have to cover the topic of sharing the file, and then we can get to the topic of time management. Now, in order for you to fully understand the time management program, I suggest that you first cover the MS Projects training that I've put for your access, which is right after the Navisworks trainings. Try to learn that first, and then we can get over to the time management program, because it's a basic introduction to the time management topic, and we'll cover topics such as the calendar year and the work days, which are just some of the requirements that you need to have in order to understand the next topics. So I personally suggest that you watch the MSP training before you get to the timeline programs. Alright, so now first we're going to learn how to share the file. Let me just select and hide this plan. Now, whenever you want to share the project that you're working on, never send NWF or NWC format that you have over here if you're working on it yourself. Rather than doing that, you can go over to the Output tab. Now, we have other tabs up here as well, such as the Animation tab. But as we said, we won't be teaching that for now because you need a general knowledge of the Navisworks. But I'll teach you whatever I can whenever it's possible. But if you want to create animations or get renderings of it, these are side programs, and they're activities that you can look up on your own. Or if you want to change the materials over here, these are all based on your preferences and aren't anything that are necessary to know in the Navisworks, because there are programs such as Inkscape that work much better and go in much more details. Alright, so as we said, we go over to the Output tab and we have an option here that says NWD, and I can also access it from up here as well. Select Publish, and then this menu opens up. This is the same NW window. So in this window, we can select the title. For example, the title that I'll go here with is B Model 26-01-99. Alright, and then we can assign a subject to it as well. As an example, for the subject here, I can go with a coordinator. And then we have the author option, which you can put in whoever you want. I'll just go with Iran Beam for now, the Iran Beam team. Then we have the publisher. I'll go with our own team again. And then we have the team that the program is published for, or just basically the person who needs to check these files. I'll just paste in the Iran Beam team here, and then you can assign the copyright details as well. The next option is keywords, which are some words that you can select that can help you out to find this project better. Now, as an example, I'll go with what we've covered here, which are clash and, for example, reviews. Then we have the comments field, which is a place where you can add in some extra description. And for now, I'll put in the comments, and the clash fields have been completed. Then for better privacy, you can type in a password as well, which the person that receives this can also have. Now, it's not particularly effective because either way, the person who receives this can only view it and can't actually do any editings in it. And I personally don't find it necessary. But the expire option can absolutely help us. For example, if you're working on a project as a team, or if you've been progressing in a BIM project in your own company, and you're working with a certain curriculum and timeline. Now, the expire option isn't actually for keeping your project safe. For example, if you put an expiration date on a certain number and say, well, if the contractor doesn't pay me, it will expire at that time. It doesn't work that way. They can just change the time of their specific windows. but the expire option actually has a different usage. For example, the project that you're working on doesn't get completed in just a week or two. When you're working a BIM project, you may have an outsource a team who just given the work and then it's done. But the process may be in working hands inside of the company itself. Or you may be trying to figure out the project for a specific company, or if you're trying to learn the trainings by yourself. Now, this option comes in use. Now, let's say we're working on a project for a couple of weeks and we have a company policy that says we have to get the outsource of the Navisworks week by week and then we need to check them. And so for cases like these, the NWD outsource that we're sending to our contractor each week, we can reserve an expiration date for it. Now, what's the reason for this? It's so that if I send a new file to my contractor, the old one doesn't get opened up by accident. And so on the date of expiration, it doesn't open up anymore and they'll know that this is an old file. So they'll need to find a new one, or if I haven't sent it yet, they'll have to ask me. Either way, they'll have to follow up and see what's up with the project. Now, this is the reason for the existence of the expiration date on the publishing window. It's not so that someone can be clever with the payments, because they can just change the calendar on their windows and then they won't need you anymore. So overall, try to keep a positive mind on these options and let's try to trust our employees and employers and our co-workers. Now, we can't really say it's all black and white and we have good and bad people. Either way, some complications can happen in the process of working on a project. There may be arguments on the payments, but either way, we won't involve ourselves with these topics because either way, the trust itself is more important to us than the payment. And so after that, we have the option that says maybe resaved. And then we have the display on open option after that. The meaning of the option is clear, and so the next one it says embed recap and texture data. Now these are informations about recap or the point cloud as we know it, and it's asking to know whether it should keep the texture data. We'll check that box. And the next option is regarding the saving of the database properties. And the last box allows us to prevent object property export or not. Now, if we activate this, it doesn't allow the export of the object properties. So I'll check it and then hit OK, which opens up a browser menu. And then I can put in my desired destination folder. And then for the name itself, I'll go with, for example, 26-01-99. Using the NWD format. And then the process of saving the file starts, and then you can see the file in the specific folder as well. Now we just have to wait for it to be saved completely, and then I'll explain the rest. Alright, so we pick up after the saving of the file was completed. Let me just save the progress inside of the file up to this point, and then I'll close it. Now I can open up this file. Well, I didn't set an expiration date or a password, but I will emphasize once more that if you're working as a dream project or under a certain company, based on the timeline that you've specified in the BEP and the weekly receiving of the files, make sure to put an expiration date. Now the window opens up here as you can see because the display on open option was activated. And so the receiver can see these informations as well. You may have reserved this file for a specific person, and if so someone else opens it up, they can see the person this was published for, and then they can transfer it to them and they can hit open to open up the file. And when I go into the plan, such as here, I can select an item and we can see the properties in full detail as well. Let me just select this in order to demonstrate. All right. but no particular specifications were transferred because we had unchecked that box. We just have some general details. In the last properties window, we had the element and the size and other parameters such as that. But here we just have some general tabs. Alright, so I'll go over here and close this, and I'll open up the viewpoints where we can select and see the comments that we had written previously. There we go. All of the comments can be seen and analyzed. And we also had discussed BCF previously in the beginning stages of the BP discussions. So your coworker can make a report using the BCF options and complete the team.